Hello everyone. I'm going to tie a Chironomid pupil pattern for you, something I've been playing with the last couple of years, more so this winter, and I'll be tying it on a Hen's BL 554 heavy body hook, or standard, pardon me, it's a standard wire bent end point, but it is a heavy barbed hook, heavy body hook in a barbless fashion. It has an excellent shape for chironomid larvae and pupa and emerger type patterns, and I'll just show you how I tie this particular pattern. I posted it up on Alberta Fly Fishing a little while ago, and people kind of enjoyed it. So I'm just going to prepare the hook and the vise, and then just wax my thread. I'm running again 18-aught nano silk. This is not like any other 18-aught thread. This is extremely strong. As you can tell, that's I got a lot of pull on here. I can bend this hook if I choose to quite a bit and pull it right out of the vise without breaking the threads. So very strong thread. So don't be intimidated by using 18-aught any longer, because things certainly have changed. So with touching turns, I've just come from behind the hook eye, about halfway down the hook shank, and now I'll take a turkey biot. This is off a natural wing. I've prepared it, stripped it away from the wing feather itself, and now I have a natural gray turkey biot. But additionally, if you can see on the side, the front of this, there's a kind of a black stripe down the one side of it. It's very translucent, even with the natural gray tones. And I just remove the pattern and have the foot of the fly, of the biot, in a position where it is the underside of the biot facing towards me. And I'll tie it in by the tip, about halfway down the hook shank. Again, the intent is not to build any bulk. This is a very slim pattern, represent the chironomid larva or chironomid pupa as much to size as possible. We seem to have a tendency in North America to tie our chironomid pupas quite heavy, unfortunately. They work, but if you can get the proportions down, it just works so much better. And if size, silhouette, and profile are critical points in fly tying and in presenting a pattern to a fish, then these are things that we have to keep in mind. So it's one of the reasons I run the 18-aught, and as you notice, I just spun my bob in there. It was basically to just take any twists or turns out of the thread and get my thread back to a flat position. You can sort of see it there. Spin up a little wider, and every time we take a turn, the thread actually puts a twist into itself. So I'm just going to build a small taper, slight taper at the front of the body. And we'll bring that up to where the thorax will start. And again, just build that slight taper. As you can see, there's a taper somewhat formed. It's very slight, but there is an actual taper there. And then what I'll do is I'll lay down a coat of head cement. This will help, once it's dried, will help strengthen the pattern overall. Just dab off any excess. So in this way, if a fish does tooth the pattern, or nick it with a tooth, it won't completely unravel on you. Now I'll just grab the foot of the biot with a pair of hackle pliers. Just pull this off to the side. And again, you can just do hand over hand wraps. And what I try to do is lay each wrap about halfway to 2/3 of the way down the flat spot on the biot from the previous wrap, and this will gradually, because as the biot increases in taper itself, this will also increase your taper on your fly pattern proportionately. So you can see a very distinct segmentation in this pattern. And now I'll just take my thread and tie it off. Tie off the biot. A few turns. Cut off the foot, the excess. I'll lash this all down nice and neat. And what I do a little different on this particular pattern, again I'll run the Inferno biot. It's a dual tone biot, a goose biot. And this will, instead of putting in two pieces, I'll put in one as a wing case. Again, it's more to represent a hotspot than anything else. I'll have enough orange in here anyways when I build up the thorax. So it's really just a hotspot that I'm adding. Not overly fussy, again, with this particular pattern on having a truer profile to the chironomids. I know some people are, and you know, if that works for you, great. I'm not particularly over concerned about that because I catch a lot of fish on this pattern anyways, just the way it is. And so now what I'll add, all those Rhea feathers we've had kicking around in the off season for steelheading, I found a very good use for this on this particular pattern. So I'll remove 2 or 3 Rhea fibers. Again, tear it away from the stem, and we'll remove the foot on these 3 pieces, and we'll tie it in to the side, and then with touching turns progress forward, lashing down all the ends. Come up behind the hook eye, whip finish there. And now I can wrap the Rhea, again with hand over hand wraps, or with the rotary vise just turning it and lay that in, just in behind the hook eye. Come around and tie that off. And just scissor the thread back and forth behind and in front of the material at the tie-off point, just to lock it all in. Remove any excess, and then now at this point we can pull the wing case tight over top, lay it down, make sure that's nice and tight, and we'll just build a small head progressing back towards the bend, and then we'll take touching turns again in that area, tight wraps in behind the hook eye, hold everything firmly, pull tight, and that's enough to cut your biot. And now I can just do a 2 or 3 knot whip finish, and the fly is actually complete at this point. A lot of people enjoy putting UV resin on the wing case, which you can do. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. So I just make sure it's all nice and clean, have everything removed out of the way. There's a little loose end of thread there. And now I'll just add a drop of UV cure here. Let gravity do a bit of work just to kind of shape it. And then we'll give it a quick burn with a flash from this Bondex pin. and we have a completed pattern. Again, like I'd mentioned, I tie it with the gray naturals. I also will tie it with a black quill, olives, browns. Those are pretty much the 4 colors that I, gray, black, olive, brown, pretty much the 4 colors I tie with for most Chironomid patterns. And I'll tie this down to a size 16, exactly the same fashion, same material. All I'm doing is changing hook size and leaving the tying technique and procedure pretty much the same. Thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of this, and I hope you get an opportunity to fish this pattern this summer. It really is an excellent Chironomid pattern that is highly effective on our lakes in Canada. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.